Back. It's good to see you. What happened here?
Thanks for having me, Sarah. It's great to be back. I think really what you saw was the reaction to the guidance, taking our guidance down a little bit. But what's important to focus on was the why. And as you mentioned, the leading reason was really supply constraints, which we had in the quarter. And we'll go a little bit into Q4. But what we've talked to investors about today that's really important to pay attention to is those supply constraints in key growth categories such as parasiticides and monoclonal antibodies, our key growth drivers, will resolve by the end of the fourth quarter. And, as we look into 2023, we think we're in a much better position. And we've got a strong portfolio. Even in the quarter, you saw companion animal growing 10%.
So it's not demand related?
No, there's really strong fundamental demand for our products, both for companionship on the pet care side, which is 2/3 of our business, as well as for protein. So we see those as durable, sustainable trends for the industry, and importantly for Zoetis, where we have such great innovation, to be leading and growing faster than the industry.
Because a lot of people look at your stock, and we've talked about this before, it was a huge pandemic winner because everyone adopted pets, the companion animals, right? It's been a growth stock, one of the best performing in the pharmaceutical world, and they're wondering if there's a give back at some point.
I think what's really different about the animal health industry than some of the stocks you're talking about is the fundamentals of the industry. For starters, those pets that everyone adopted, they're still there and they're taking great care. Millennials adopted those pets. They're spending more on those pets. So the demand for our products has remained incredibly strong. And that's a durable growth driver. And I think, as I said, as you add our innovation on top of that, we're growing significantly above the market.
What about the workforce problems? How does that hurt you? How severe is that?
So there are some veterinary workforce challenges as you look in the vet clinics, both in the U.S. and around the globe. And that's really, by the way, right now, those workforce challenges, there's still capacity ahead of where we were pre-COVID. But when you added all those more pets and you couldn't graduate vets that quickly, vets are having to change the way they operate. Better leverage vet techs, the same way you see in the human side, better leveraging nurses and nurse practitioners. So I think there's just, a difference in how they need to work to be adding more capacity there. But the good news for Zoetis is a lot of our products are chronic products. So we're less leveraged to where the veterinary workforce is than many other companies.
But it still affects you.
It still affects us. But as we look at the guidance change, really 75% of that guidance change, as you mentioned, is around supply and certainly foreign exchange, which I know everyone's talking about.
Right. So and you are exposed pretty internationally. What are you seeing in terms of the demand trends globally right now? Because other big countries, Europe, China, not as strong as the U.S. has been.
Sure. And as you look at international, it actually grew 8% for us in the quarter. It's staying strong. Demand is really strong internationally. About half our business is outside of the United States. But those same companion animal trends that I'm talking about in the U.S. exist there, too. Great growth for us in important products. Our pain monoclonal antibodies doing phenomenally well. Our parasiticides, even China in the quarter, growing 35%.
So Stephanie Link always likes your stock. So she'll kill me if I don't ask you for an update on the recovery of the livestock business, which has been a concern of Wall Street for a while.
Sure. I think there's been a bunch of dynamics that in livestock over the last few years. Some one-time events such as African swine fever that you saw, and then certainly COVID as everyone stopped dining out. But as you look at our livestock business, it's been more driven by the loss of exclusivity on key growth products such as Draxxin, and that's really impacted us. But if you take Draxxin out of our numbers, we actually saw growth in the quarter. So this is why we firmly believe, as we sort of lap some of these Draxxin issues with some of our large products that lost exclusivity, you're going to see livestock return to growth, maybe in the low single digits, but we really believe that's the long-term trend. We'll continue back to that.
So you think the market has this wrong, down 12%? Don't
Absolutely.
Understand that it's a temporary supply issue.
Absolutely.
Kristin, thank you very much. Appreciate
Good to see you.
Joining
Thanks for
me
having
here
me.
Post 9. Kristin Peck,